welcome to Traveler's Tips and Tales. My name is Jacob.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Michael.
And today we will start the Tales half of our Tips and Tales with a story that we have decided to call An Eye for Adventure. So, there's three pretty much main characters to this story. One being my first character. His name is Cade. He's a halfling rogue, and he's kind of a little shifty fella. He's very cautious all the time.
The main character I feel for this little tale here is Shayna. She was my second character in Ben's campaign, and she was a tiefling life cleric who was not very much of a cleric. She was more charismatic and built to be friendly than anything else. Whenever she prayed to her god, she never really got any results.
Yeah, you're telling me.
The third character we don't have them with us. Ben, do you want to describe them?
The third character is named Kalsonu, and Kalsonu was a feisty redhead from a small family of woodcarvers who was involved in some ways in this adventure. In some maybe not best ways, but involved.
She was the tank kind of part of the. She was a grapple build.
Well, so she was meant to be the tank. She
was meant to be the tank. There were moments where others might have been the main damage takers.
but that's for later.
We'll get into that. So, this all starts off with the reason for the quest. There was a certain situation where Shayna put a certain eyeball inside her eye socket, which was not good. Not a good decision.
So Shayna went into this back alley that was nicknamed the Black Market because essentially that is what you could find. There's anything you could find on the Black Market. Yeah. And she, through some cheating and some deals, managed to get a special box for someone. Don't remember who now, but she got it for someone. She decided to open it herself, and inside she found there an eye. A very necrotic looking, kind of rotting eye. And of course, their first reaction is, oh, is this the Eye of Vecna?
Keep in mind, for all of our viewers, this happened almost like a year and a half ago, maybe, so our memories might be a bit clouded.
And the reason he brings up the whole we all thought it was Eye of Vecna was because Critical Role had recently done a video at the time where they fought Vecna, and we were all wondering if that was going to be included.
yeah.
Which I was actually unaware of at the time. So.
Yeah. It was just an eyeball.
It was a cursed eyeball. But so she got the idea. Let's pluck out my eye and replace it with this one.
Well, let's start with why she thought of that. Right.
Yeah.
So the fabled 12-man session.
12-man session, not good.
Ben's
a mistake.
Solution, it was a mistake, but we're past that.
But
Ben's solution, though.
Yeah.
Ben's solution for this, running it. Ben, do you want to go into it since you were?
So my solution was for this session, instead of trying to let everyone do, all their own individual role play and going through a combat session, I said, you know what? No, we have 12 player characters all at once. I'm running a sports tournament. Where there will be
fun.
That's what a bunch of nerds like to do.
Mock battles and wrestling and races and all kinds of games that we can play all together with the 12 of my players.
Yeah. But anyways, so during one of these races, right, Shayna, Michael's character, decides to pluck out her eyeball.
I'm gonna be honest. I was falling a little bit behind in the race. I was not doing as well as I'd have hoped.
And so she was hoping that the eye would give her a leg up on the competition, I suppose.
Yeah, magic items can do anything, you know? You never know what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, you pluck out the eyeball, put in the new one. You know, worked like a charm, right?
What I started seeing was insane, though. Shayna was all of a sudden with this new eye able to see and determine a character's alignment by looking at them, and this was weird because it seems so meta to be able to see an alignment, but in reality you're just seeing if someone really follows a code or if they're leaning more on the good or evil side. It's not meta at all, it just feels that way at the moment.
That's enough for the 12-minute session. That's a story for the day anyways. But what the eye did specifically, story. Yeah, but what the eye did specifically, right? So you could see the alignment, but the cursed part. Ben, you brought up that it was a cursed item, correct? So,
yes, I did.
The bad thing about the eyeball.
Yeah,
you can't take it out.
You can't take it out, and it started rotting all the flesh around it to start, and then slowly it progressed further and further throughout your body until you're all just a necrotic blob.
Yeah, I will say, the only thing that was actually cursed about that eye was that you couldn't remove it once you put it in. That was just your body's natural reaction to having rotting flesh inside of it. That was just a real, honest infection. That's what you had.
It wasn't a fresh eyeball, I suppose.
Nope.
No, it was not. I just thought it was really funny because your character, you made them really charismatic, and you even like went out of your way to make sure that all of us as players knew that she was very like attractive.
Yeah,
very,
she also was
talkative.
not she was not a very classic looking tiefling. Typically a tiefling will be like a dark red or a deep purple, but she was
mostly dark.
She was bright pink with green hair and golden eyes, and that was my little touch of I want to do something that is not normal.
Yeah, this is an odd person, you know. But I thought it was really funny, just, you know, the irony in that. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Very meant to be attractive and talkative person just ended up being like this slowly rotting, starting with the face, which is like probably like the most important part for like someone based on looks, you know. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then we go. This is us as like most of our party. Even it's not even just the three of us yet. But we go and talk to this guy in Ben's world. He's like the main best cleric around. In our,
The only
our town
cleric
that we're
around.
based in. The only cleric in that specific town.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he's acclaimed for being really good. You know, really powerful.
So yeah, you guys went
gives us
to
a
go
quest.
see him. You guys went to go see him. His name was Halaman. He's a dwarf. He's a cleric. He's the only cleric in this entire town because the worship of anyone but the ruler of said town is outlawed. But he has political leeway since he's one of the rulers of a different area. He's just not there most of the time. So he was able to do what he wanted. So they go to him and they say, "We messed up. We need help."
I'm injured. Please help.
What is
And,
going on with this girl's face?
He says, "You know, I'd love to help, but the only way for me to help you is if you go and retrieve for me this primordial fire. That I know where it is, but I can't go get it right now. I'm busy, right? I'm the only cleric in town. I'm very busy. If you can get it for me, I can use it to heal you, and I can use what's left to heal other people." So the party
I
accepts
still-
their quest.
I still to this day don't even know if it would have worked or not.
It slightly worked, but that's
It
another thing that
did,
we'll
yeah.
talk about later.
Yeah.
But I do want to mention that after the race, we had solved like an issue going on in town, and the king gave us all a chance to get a magical item from his collection.
Yes.
And I found one that I wanted, but he said, no, you get this, and handed me a helmet to cover up the rotting of my face. which that helmet ends up playing a somewhat key point later on.
But it's really ironic though, because you're a tiefling, and it was like a fully enclosed helmet, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
You
snapped
had to-
off my horns.
You snapped off your horn.
Which didn't you keep one
Oh
as a
my
dagger, makeshift dagger for a long time?
Yes, my character Cade, he collects daggers, and he's known to have multiple of them strapped to his body, all over the place at all times. And one of them, yes, I kept the horn, and I was like, Ben, will this work as a dagger? And he was like, why not? So I sharpened your horn, your like curled horn, and I used it as a dagger every now and then. That's just my character's weird thing that he kept a keepsake of. He tried to keep a keepsake of all the characters in the party, because it was such a big party and people came in and out so much. My character was kind of like the constant in the party.
To be fair, your character was used to collecting strange things, as
This is true.
he ended the
hoarder.
first session with a pair of harpy's wings that he could use to glide. Not fly,
Yeah.
just glide.
Glide like Batman. but so another thing that was really great that I got so Shayna got that item, right? My character gets these little boots. They're called the boots of minor levitation, and basically what they do is let me take 2 steps in the air as if they're on solid ground. So my character just got real busted because I started like running up walls by doing flips off of walls and then jumping back to the wall with my boots, my little slippers. But yeah, so yeah, the harpy wings I have, yeah, they're basically like duct taped to my backpack. Been allowed for it to mean that I could glide. I had a glide speed. But anyways, so the journey begins, right? We go and we have to go to this area in the desert, right?
Yeah, you have to head. He specifically said you have to head to a temple in the desert. Abandoned temple.
A desert that none of our characters have ever been to.
Yeah.
At that point, yeah. That you would all get
Yeah.
to know very well.
And so, yeah, so we all, hop on our camels, and we start getting there. Didn't we have a guide or something? Where did we acquire this guide?
We went to the Sun Elf village in the desert first.
Yeah, Amuso.
Yeah, and that's where we got the camels and a guide.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the guide that you found was a kind of youngish kid who, went up to the rogue of the party, started speaking thieves' cant, which immediately made you guys distrust him. But he said, "Yeah, I know how to get there."
Specifically, Cade.
Yeah,
Very
he said,
distrust-
"You know what? I know how to
distrusting.
get there. I can show you how to get there." And so you guys took him as your guide.
Did we even have like a payment system? I can't remember. Did we arrange what we were gonna give him for guiding
He
us?
did not ask for payment.
No, but we
Even
we
shitty.
also received scarves that allowed us to be in the extreme heat without getting exhausted either.
Yeah, we got that from somewhere else though. Could've sworn. Oh yeah, it was just the 3 though.
Yeah.
I think that was before the desert. We got those.
Right before, yeah.
Yeah, which was pretty neat.
It was given to you guys by a strange man who appeared seemingly out of nowhere at you
man.
guys' campsite. And
Yeah.
then it gave them to you and then disappeared again just as
He was
mysteriously.
a homie. He was a homie. So anyways, we got this guide and we start going around in the desert. And yeah, we're looking through the desert. We traverse to the Dragon Temple. We follow this guide. And eventually, we met a certain creature, Benjamin, if you'd like to go more
Yes.
into what this creature is.
So you guys ran into a creature that, if I'm being perfectly honest, I got from a free PDF that I stumbled across a while back on the internet, so I'm not gonna pretend that was mine or anything. And it was essentially a giant cactus monster that liked to stand very still and just look like a cactus. And as soon as you got too close, it would attempt to smash you to death and eat you.
Yep. How big was this?
It
big
was.
was this character-
I
this
think it
creature?
was large.
I think it was huge or
It might have
large.
been huge.
Really big.
Really big, yeah.
And it's because of this giant cactus that, paired with the decisions I made as Shayna, Shayna and Cade had some issues later on.
Oh yeah. So
Well, to
Cade
be honest,
is-
this whole quest sparked issues between Shayna and Caden Calsonu.
Yeah, Cade and Calsonu were not fond of the desert after this.
grew to hate Shayna and the desert.
yep.
Anyways,
I'm not
so this
apologizing.
desert creature, this cactus creature.
Yeah, so this cactus creature, Cade, I believe you were the one who were trying to lead the party, yeah? And you kind of
Yeah.
stumbled across it.
Yeah, so cactus creature pounces, and then it gets your boy Cade. Very delicate man.
Yes,
Not a lot of hit
and
points, this guy.
what it did was it kind of grabbed you and hugged you and stuck you to it. And
Which is
so
the
you,
worst thing that it could have done.
yes, so
My
you were
character is
stuck
based
to
on
it.
range.
You were stuck to it, taking poison damage every turn that you stayed stuck to
Yep.
it. And then, instead of helping to get
I
you
couldn't get
free or healing you, Shayna decided it would
Yeah.
be more
What did
efficient.
Shayna decide? What did
Wait, what did Shayna
Michael?
decide? You tell us. What did you?
Shayna decide?
You know, Shayna decided her spell slots were best spent instead of constantly trying to keep up action economy with trying to revive Cade and him still being stuck to the cactus but still being able to fight. She decided that it was best to try fighting this cactus off on her own and
kill
then
it.
casting Revivify on Cade to bring
Which
him back
would-
to life.
After he died.
Yes, but it would only take one of Shayna's spell slots instead of using like 3 or 4 of them. So it was a
One of
trade-off.
Shayna's
That,
one of Shayna's biggest spell slots instead of a bunch of little baby tiny spell slots. But anyways,
yeah.
So what did she decide to do? What spell specifically? Do you remember,
So
Michael?
Shayna's favorite spell to use for combat was Spiritual Weapon, and
Mm-hmm.
Shayna casted Spiritual Weapon right behind this cactus, and it was attempting to attack the cactus, but I may
Yes.
have rolled 1 or 2 or 4 crit ones that all happened to hit Cade. And
Ben's solution was to deal the damage to Cade,
Yeah.
which of course killed him on the first hit.
yeah,
And
so
then the 3 succeeding ones each gave me a failed death save before I could even attempt to live.
yeah, so Cade,
So
Cade
Shayna
just straight up
literally
died on
killed
this
me.
cactus.
Shayna literally killed me in every way. And this is the first of a couple deaths for this specific character.
Yeah, Cade has had some run-ins, but this was definitely, I feel like, one that kind of divided the party a little bit more than
Well,
the
this
rest.
was the first one. This is the first time my character died.
Yeah, that's true.
He had, up to this point, he has been living his entire life.
To be
Believe it or
fair,
not.
though, Shayna did eventually kill this cactus and cast
did.
Revivify.
She did eventually
And-
cast
But
Revive.
as she wanted to do that, you had to pull Cade off of this cactus. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
And how did I describe it? Like Velcro? Like
Yeah.
Yes,
just
like
like
Velcro.
pulling him off of like
Literally
like
just
Velcro.
peeling the skin off of my
Yeah,
hand.
and we had to pull the needles out before he was back to life. Otherwise, he would take that damage again, making him dead again. But we had to do it quick because Revivify has to be cast within a minute of them dying.
Within a minute. So you just,
Meanwhile,
the second the cactus dies, just
Yes.
rip me off.
meanwhile though, Cade, you are experiencing something in the afterlife.
Yes, I have a whole nother, thing. Yeah. So I fully die. Like 100% am dead. And where did I go? I went to another plane of existence, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember exactly
I
where
think it was just a vision when you died.
I think... No, like, I full-on went to, like, my character's heaven or whatever. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's
Or whatever.
right. You went to basically
And-
the equivalent of Valhalla.
Yeah, I think you based it off of my alignment, which for my character was chaotic good. So he's kind of a weirdo, you know? And but he's, for the most part, good. But yeah, and so I go there, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, "You died in battle, like a true warrior." And I was like, yeah, sure. Which, my character in no way looks like a warrior in any way possible. But yeah, so I'm talking to this dude in the afterlife, and he's like, "A valiant death you have had," and all that. And then that's when Shayna starts to revive me. And so, how did you describe it? You said like my soul was being called after.
Yeah, so you were experiencing true peace
Yeah.
in the afterlife with this guy. He said, "You know what? You're welcome here. You know, welcome to this peaceful place." And then you felt your soul being like, called back to the world, and you accepted. And as you were leaving, he like called down to you, and he said, "I look forward to seeing you again." Which
and
he
my
did.
characters, yeah, he did. Not too long after. It wasn't too long until he saw me again. But I think the thoughts running through Cade's head at this point is, what? No, why? Why? Why do I have to go back to that terrible place? Oh, it was so nice there. So yeah, Cade gets sucked back into his body, I guess. Kind of like, the way I pictured it is like, he was like floating backwards, and it was as if like, the reverse of the genie coming out of the lamp. Just like, he slowly just started getting sucked back into the little black hole that is to the, primatorial plane. So yeah, so Cade's back. He's alive again. That's good,
He did not die that day. Well, he did, but he
Well,
didn't.
he did, but he also didn't. So, So yeah, they continue. And eventually they arrive at the desert temple that we were supposed to go to, right?
Yes,
And
and if I recall
It was just
correctly,
massive.
this temple was massive, and it was surrounded by active tornadoes that were
Yes.
raging all around it.
Hmm.
Which I
And all
believe
of
is what
you-
Kalsonu was trying to figure out.
Yes.
During this whole
and,
thing.
And a good friend of ours, Dalton, was trying to figure out as well.
Yes.
And Dalton had the brilliant idea, his character Lava Lamp had the brilliant idea, maybe there's
He's not
a
here.
switch.
His character isn't here. This is Dalton talking to us as players. He's
Oh,
at
was
the
it?
he
table,
was
but
he was
his
there
character's
at
not
the
present.
he was there at the session. He
That's
just wasn't
right,
in.
that's right, yeah.
Yes.
Adventuring
and so
party.
and so we were all sitting there, and we like to joke around and tease with Dalton that he always has, his ideas seem so dumb, but this time it was so dumb that it actually was the answer.
He said, well, maybe there's a switch once you get inside that turns off the tornadoes. And everyone
were all
looked at
like-
him and said,
Everyone
"What?
looked at him
No."
and we were like, Dalton, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Now, here's the thing. If I remember correctly, I believe I was sitting next to Ben at this time, and Ben looked at me and goes, "That wasn't the initial thing, but I think I'm going to put a switch."
Why you gotta rat me out like that?
I'm trying to just lay that out so people who might become a DM in the future realize that they can make on-the-fly changes if their characters or players in general come up with a fun little thing that might
yeah.
be even more creative that you didn't necessarily think of.
way
Yeah,
I
so
see
when,
it,
once he
that's
said
the
that
best
and
part
everyone
of the
kind of
year.
turned and said, that's a really dumb idea, I said, you know what? That's the answer. There's a switch.
So I think it was my character that went in because it was the most dex-based character.
Yeah.
'Cause they were all dexterity saving throws for the tornadoes. And so my character just bobs and weaves through all the tornadoes with the help of his boots and wings, right?
Yeah.
His slippers and wings.
And then once you got inside, there was an orb sitting on a pedestal.
Yeah,
That you,
that's what the orb is.
Yeah, that you grabbed and you smashed it. And out came an elemental
Yeah.
that you guys had to deal with at that
It
point.
was an air elemental, I believe.
Yes, it was.
It was. I think it was that was your like tornado maker.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then all the
Like the
tornadoes
generator.
stopped, but then you had to deal with an air elemental.
So yeah, just like, I mean, think about it from like Shayna and Kasonu's perspective. You know, they see their little tiny halfling friend just start jumping through the tornadoes, and then eventually he disappears amongst the dust flying around, the dust and sand whirling around him, right? And then eventually it all settles down, and he's just staring at this big air elemental who's just looking down on him. They're already going toe-to-toe in combat, you know?
Yeah.
just kinda
So
funny.
everyone else runs in to help you. Meanwhile, your guide stays behind, and you guys don't see him after that until way later. But I'll get into that maybe towards the end of our
Yeah, the
our
guide, he even
story.
like every time we would go into combat, he was kind of like a roguey character, right? And so
Yeah.
he would always hide in the sand. It was like the weirdest thing. He had like this special like hood or whatever.
Yeah,
Just
and
like cloaked him in the sand.
I want to mention what Ben is talking about that he's going to bring up later. Me and Jacob still don't know what this is.
Yeah,
He
we
just
literally-
dropped this bomb on us on the middle
Exactly,
of
like-
explaining what we're going to talk about today.
Like we thought about talking about this story, and then Ben literally brought up. He was like, "You guys never found out about the guide," and then me and Michael went, "Oh yeah, there was a guide." So we go into the temple. It was kind of, was there just a front door? I don't remember.
Yeah, there was like a big open, like not even a door, like a big open just space that led inside.
Archway or something like that.
Yeah,
It was really. I remember it was just so tall. It was humongous.
it's like a couple hundred
Right.
feet tall.
and also a
so-
couple hundred feet deep.
Yep. So we go in, and I think the next direction we went was up. Right? Once we get in the temple. Because we saw a big balcony up, like hundreds of feet up, right?
Yeah.
And so my character, this is the first time that I thought about doing my little jumpy thing that my character eventually started being known for. So yeah, my boots, I would basically jump onto the wall. So my feet are on the wall, so it would reset my boot counter, my slipper counter on how many times I could jump on the air again. And then I would jump off the wall, and then I would jump off of one leg to go up, and then the other leg to go back to the wall to reset it.
Yeah,
While
with
doing
an
little flips
insanely
in the
hard
air.
like acrobatics check to pull it off. Also, I want to
But-
say,
I was a rogue.
yeah. Also, I want to say before we continue, the boots or the slippers of minor levitation, I also did not claim those. I found those online as
Yes.
well. If you want to look
Yeah.
it up and check it out, I encourage you to do that. They are super
One of
cool,
my-
and
one
the
of
guy who
my-
makes those items is super cool. He puts out a lot of stuff all the time.
One of my favorite items that my character ever got. I later found out that there was like normal boots of levitation or normal slippers of levitation. I keep calling them boots for some reason. They're slippers. But I
Yours
was
were
like,
slippers. Normally, they're boots.
Normally they're boots. That's what it is. And I was like, man, those are way worse than what I got. I was like, mine are way cooler. I like what I did more than that. But yeah, so Ben sets this insanely high DC for my acrobatics check to go up. Literally climb an entire, like, 250-foot wall just by jumping on it and doing little flips in the air.
The hardest part was when you got to the balcony because you had to run upside down.
Yes.
to get
which I later in the campaign found a solution to do that with my slippers as well.
Yeah.
But I didn't think of it yet now. I think I just glided to the roof. But yeah, so me being a rogue, I had expertise in acrobatics, which means I get double my proficiency modifier, so I'm like insanely good at this one thing. And then me also being a halfling means I can re-roll natural ones once if I roll them. So I'm pretty set, right, to go up here. Like the lowest I can roll, I think, is like at that point. What level was I?
I think we were like level 8.
Yeah, I think the lowest I could roll was around like 13. And that's only if I rolled like a natural 2. Because if I rolled a natural 1, I would just re-roll it and it'd be something else, you know? And so I get up there while carrying a rope, like basically all of our ropes tied together. I get up there and I attach the rope to the balcony to let Shayna and Kalsanu climb up as well.
Yeah, once you guys got up there, you found like a big ornate room with like drawings depicting like the history of this temple and stuff.
Yeah.
Then came the problem of getting down.
Where did we find the orb that Kalsanu got? We got that somewhere on this quest.
You found that deeper down into the
Yeah.
temple. I
Yeah.
can touch on that later.
Yeah. So yeah, we came up here. We didn't get much information other than like lore, right?
Yeah.
Nothing really to progress ourselves on our quest for the primordial flame that we're looking for.
And this was lore that we couldn't fully understand, because I don't think any of us actually spoke Draconic at that time.
Nope.
So we were unable to effectively read this. It basically was just, we were able to see what the pictures showed, but that was about it.
We were trying to figure out what these hieroglyphics meant, basically. And so we're up at the top, and my character thinks, or no. Oh, I can't remember what it was. But Michael, why don't you describe that helm a bit more? I don't think you really went into detail what exactly it does.
Yeah, so...
Because it is a magical item.
Yeah, so I mentioned that helmet that the king forced me to take as my magical item for doing whatever quest we did for him.
Because it covered your face.
Yes, which he greatly appreciated.
Disgusting.
And so that helm was basically... I forget exactly what the name of it is, but it was a helmet that when you put it on, it kept you in that state of mind. So if you were happy when you put it on, you remain happy. If you were brave, you remain brave. And that's the important one that comes into play here.
Because my character, Cade, being the overly cautious, always, skeptical character... I don't remember what exactly it was, but at some point my character literally says, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I think one of us gave you a pep talk.
Yeah, someone gave me a pep talk and you rolled really high for your persuasion or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, we got this. We could do this. And so my character had a small, very would have been short moment of bravery.
But I extended that for him. I went ahead and gave him a long time of bravery that should not have existed.
That helm right on my head. and so now my character, who is normally the one who stops the party from doing dumb ideas, is now like, let's do it. This'll work 100%. Will not fail.
Let's do this dumb idea. That is my idea.
Whereas, seemingly perfectly written, a dumb idea was formed immediately after the helm is put on my head. Because we're trying to figure out how to get down. And so my wings, my little harpy wings on my backpack, I typically only use them, right? They only ever have to hold up my weight, which is a approximately 40-pound, 3'2" halfling. So they don't have to hold up much weight. And so I was like, well, I basically don't have fall damage, right? To put it into like our lingo, I guess. But I can't take fall damage, basically. And so we had to get down. And so I thought, why don't we just grab the rope, so we don't lose our rope, and y'all just hold on to my arms, and we just jump, and we'll be fine. And I think it was Kaosonu who thought it wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, Shayna was more charismatic than intelligent.
Yes.
So Shayna was like, this sounds
on board.
fantastic.
On board, fully on board. And these are Shayna. I can't remember what her armor situation is, but Kaosonu wears like full plate mail armor, like heavy as heck plate armor.
Yeah, Shayna's like 120, 130 pounds, but then you add on all her gear, which includes chainmail, and she ends up becoming like 180, 190 pounds.
Kaosonu, being the tank, is kind of a more bulky character. Plus, my halfling is kind of a hoarder, so his backpack isn't the lightest thing around, you know? And so we eventually talk Kaosonu into it. And we jump off the ledge.
Which you guys got maybe, 30 feet before those wings just snapped?
Yeah.
They got ripped off.
I think that's how you wrote it out. You just said my wings just totally like caved in and failed, and we plummeted.
Yeah, I mean, imagine these wings that are only used to taking 40, 50 pounds weight max at a time to almost 500 pounds at once. And
so
they are bound to give out.
We fall.
We fall hard.
We fall hard. And who is at the bottom of the fall? Of course, the one that they were like hopped on my back, right? So obviously I was at the bottom of the dog pile, my small 40-pound halfling being crushed, absolutely demolished by these two easily bulkier characters. And so yeah, I don't think I fully died that time, but I did go into death saves.
Yeah. Which, hey, because I saved my lower level spell slots, I was able to get you out of.
Sure, man, sure. Yeah. And so my character doesn't die just yet. So that's the second time my character has died, and it's all in like the same day.
This is within probably, what would you say, 2 hours of the last time that he died?
3 hours, something like that. I die, and then I don't die again. And then I can't exactly remember what happens next, but we go through more of the temple.
The temple floor that we were on was also covered with mounds of sand. There wasn't really any open part of the floor that wasn't covered. Eventually we got to an area that was basically a pool of sand in front of us to get across to the direction we needed to go.
And it was just like this massive like dunes of sand inside a structure. Like the sand has just like been caved into this structure for so long, and so much wind has just pushed it all in here. And it's just, there's so much, like it's like a desert inside of a building inside of a desert. It's so crazy. And so we walk through the temple, just like traversing these dunes for like an hour or so, I think. Totally lost. My character is like very low on health, you know, because he just died and all. And so yeah, I remember then we find a throne, right? And after further inspection
you guys found
of
a
the
throne.
We found a secret door. I think my character found a secret door that we like dug out from underneath the throne, or something like that.
Yes, you guys found like a secret. It's like a secret elevator behind the throne. It was like a secret like panic room.
Yeah. And the way this elevator typically is used is because this temple is meant for dragons, right? And so whatever dragon was in the elevator, the way to turn on the elevator was that they would breathe fire on all the walls, right? So that way only Dragonborn could really move the
it was meant for Dragonborn.
Yeah. But our characters don't know that. And we don't know how to do the elevator. And so while just inspecting the walls and trying to figure out even what this room is, I don't remember which character it was, but one of us put our hand on the wall.
I think it was Kalsonu.
I think it was Kalsonu. Might have been you. It could have been any of us, really. But Ben points out that there's a little, like, wherever we put our hand, kind of like lit up because the heat from our hand went into the cold wall. Because this room has been like in darkness for who knows how long. So the walls are pretty chilly.
Yeah.
So our body heat is enough to trigger the wall, but only in this one section. Typically a dragonborn would just breathe fire on all the walls and then they'd be good, you know? And so we spend like 10 minutes slowly putting our hand across the entire wall. Like it's a paintbrush, basically. Me like hopping up and down the walls so I could get the ceiling with my slippers and everything. And we eventually trigger the elevator to start working.
Yeah.
Yeah, which leads you guys down into the lower portion of the temple, which is where things got really crazy.
Yeah,
Did not like the lower level.
This is where the story really goes vague for me. I can't remember exactly what happens.
Luckily, I remember this very clearly. So,
So take the floor. Brandon.
you guys head down into the lower portion of the temple, and when you find down there is this hallway, and past that you just see this massive cavern filled with sand. And on the walls of this little hallway that you found yourselves in, there were like drawings, like art of serpents, some kind of serpents everywhere. And you guys were kind of wondering, like, huh, these look really realistic. That's really weird. I don't like that. And you guys kind of were suspicious of that for a while.
And at this point, I think right after I fell and died and everything, I took off the helmet because I got mad at Shayna, right?
Yeah.
So my character's back to being like peeing his pants every 5 seconds. These snakes are spooking him because they're like crawling out of the sand and everything.
Yeah, so you guys are like, huh, that's really weird. And so you guys head out into this cavern. Well, no, first you took a long rest in the elevator. That's what you did.
Because we were so scared. We didn't
Yeah,
want to
so
push
what
forward.
you did was you looked at that, you said, well, these are really realistic, I don't like that, so there's some kind of magic at work here. You guys shut the doors to the elevator, and you guys just waited in there for like 8 hours. You guys just camped in there, and then nothing bothered you, nothing disturbed you, anything like that.
To
But when
be
you
fair-
opened the doors...
To be fair, we had a pretty long day.
Yes, you did.
did.
That's fair. But when you opened the doors, some of those like serpent-like things that were really realistic on the walls were gone. You guys kind of freaked out. And
Again.
you said, where did they go?
We later
If they're
find out
not
we
here-
freaked out for good reason.
Where are they, right?
Yeah, so you guys head off into this cavern, and you are kind of exploring it, and it looks like everything was like blasted out like by like strong water or sand or something. It looks really worn down all over the place. And soon you find you guys get attacked by these things that keep burrowing through the sand and popping up over and over again and like blasting sand at you guys.
Yeah.
So you guys deal with them, you kill them, you find out that they're like these little dragon things. Well, there's no wings, but they're like little dragons, and they're guarding this place. So you continue on, and that's when things start to get a little weird. First, you guys find that primordial flame that we were talking about earlier. It's in this big brazier. It's burning bright. You guys find it in a separate room that you guys went and discovered. Shayna, I
Which
think
is
you
our
sat
whole
in it.
objective.
Yeah,
you
I
sat in it for
in
a while, and it
Yeah,
started to heal you.
We were pretty stumped there. We didn't, because we had to retrieve this and bring it back to the dwarf from our town.
Yeah.
So we were pretty stumped.
So, but yeah, you sit in it and it starts to heal you, but when you get out, it already starts to look like you're a little bit changing back. But it reverses the process a little bit. And that's when things got weird, because that's when you guys felt that wave of energy wash over you. And you looked around, and all the sand was gone. And there were Dragonborn looking at you guys, going, what are these guys doing here, right?
Yeah.
You guys had traveled through time
Yep.
without
And
meaning to.
This is for an entirely another reason that is unrelated to us at all, right?
Yes, that is what the
'Cause-
other party was dealing with, and it affected
this all
everybody.
started- yeah, so this all started with a 12-man party. And so we split up. We went, us three, and then some of the others from the 12, the remaining 9, went to do another thing. And
Well-
what they did affected us in our mission.
Well, that 12-man party session was the session before this, so like 5 of
Yeah.
them didn't even show up this time.
Yeah.
So, with the people that were there, we were split
split it
into
up
2
pretty much
groups,
half.
but it was
Yeah.
fine. We typically don't recommend splitting the party, but this one was a rare occasion where it was okay because we had 2 complete parties essentially with the way it was built.
And I think we even had just a whole nother DM that would just dealt with the other group, right?
I don't
No, Ben was-
recall
Ben
that.
was taking care of
I was
both
doing
parties.
that. I've never trusted another DM with running at the same time as me
Ben,
because I have issues.
if I remember right, Ben actually ran both groups at separate times.
Ah, that's probably what it was.
I believe he took Dalton and Jakar at a separate time because they
Well, there
were
was
the main
others,
ones
too.
of this.
There were others too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
There was a couple-
Bailey.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, Bailey had just left for Germany, so he was not.
Which you guys will get to hear Bailey in our next episode.
This
We
is
have
true. You will
some
get to
fun
meet
plans.
our good
First
friend.
guest.
You get to meet my best friend Bailey over in the next week,
Yeah.
where he has some very good and righteous things to say about combat versus roleplay. So check in next week if you want to hear that.
A little hint.
Yes, but we traveled back in time.
So yeah, we travel back in
Yes,
time.
you guys
for
travel
what
back in
they
time.
Did.
Yes, for what they did. And that is when Calsonu had the brilliant idea of waving in like a circular little wave, like a half circle, and all the Dragonborn started doing that because they thought it was funny.
We invented a whole new hand gesture for these people.
That-
Yep.
We're like in ancient times. Like this is so
Yeah.
long ago.
That hand wave carried on to our times. Dragonborn used that as greetings.
Yeah.
In
It's
my
like
world,
canon.
that is how Dragonborn greet each other.
I don't even remember how we get out of the temple, but
So-
it really kind of unknowingly solved our problem because Shayna's face was no longer absolutely disgusting to look at
Yeah.
Yes.
because time went backwards, so her face fully healed, pretty much. It just like reset it.
Yep.
So that became a problem for another day.
Yes. But meanwhile, back in the present day, there was something going on that you guys never got to see, and you guys never found out about it.
Literally have no clue what
I need to
this
know
is
now.
up until right now.
So,
Ben, speak.
so that guide you guys had, that little punk kid,
Yeah.
he was never actually a rogue at all.
Oh.
Really?
He knew thieves can't because he worked as a scribe in that town, and he desperately wanted to escape that town because it was boring. Every day of his life he was spent bored there, and he hated it. So when you guys
Not
came
gonna
along,
lie.
he
Not gonna lie,
said,
I've got 2 characters that originate from that town, and I can kind of agree.
yeah, so he said, you know what? I'll go with you. I'll show you where it is. Just get me out of here. Essentially, is all he wanted from you guys.
Yeah, but
So-
he did it in a shifty way.
Yes, he did, because he wasn't supposed to leave.
That's fair.
So, meanwhile, back in the present day, that primordial flame is sitting there. The path to it has been cleared, and coming up from behind you guys came a certain someone who stumbled across it. The primordial flame, he took it. He absorbed it into his very being. He fed it parts of his soul so that he could gain the power that came with it. And after that, he traveled to a large city called Jazima, where you guys have actually encountered him many times, but never knew it was
No
him.
way. Wait. Is this?
So he became exceptionally skilled at fire magic, so much so that he outshined
Oh my God.
everybody else.
Oh my god.
This is Blaze.
And very soon, he started calling himself Blaze because of how proficient with fire magic he was. He wanted to leave his old life behind, so of course he never wanted to use his name again. And
We literally made a key NPC without even knowing about it.
And he
then
got elected
met the
to
same
the
guy
council.
and didn't even know.
Yep, he got elected to the Council of Mages, so he now is one of the rulers of that city. And
Oh my gosh.
he owes it all to you guys, actually.
Yeah, so let me just explain one thing for the viewers here.
Wow.
In Ben's world, there's this desert city called Jasima that is one of the biggest cities, as far as I know, in the world. And it's essentially run by a figurehead who just kind of is the face of the city, and then in the background is where things are really being run, which is the College of Mages.
Well, it's like a two-part, like
Yeah, it's like
two-part government.
two-part government until recently when they voted the elected
that's-
leader out and the council in.
That's another story, though.
Yeah, it's
And
another story.
one of our friends, Dalton, his character Lava Lamp, is actually currently trying to become a member of the Council of Mages. So we've had to deal with them quite a lot.
Yeah.
This is
They're like a big
fantastic.
part of our campaign to this day.
Yeah.
We
I
still
can't
run this
believe that is
That
how
is so
that
crazy.
person came to be.
I just realized, because that game we played about a month ago, Blaze was really nice to me, even though I was kind of being a dick that day. And I just realized why. Because if it weren't for me...
Man.
Because if it weren't for me, he would have had nothing.
And he couldn't thank
Oh my
Kalsonu or...
Because she wasn't there at the time.
And Shayna met an unfortunate end that we're going to get to soon.
Yeah. But,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert. Yeah.
But yes, you guys have actually encountered that guy way more times.
A lot.
He never really told you his name before that.
He's like a key NPC.
Man.
Like, he's an important figurehead that we talk to on a normal basis.
And
Our
even in
other-
like other games, you've like
Yeah,
run into
our
him a
other
lot.
game is based in that city.
People in our party in other games have done quests for him.
Yeah.
We have done quests for him, Michael. Literally us. Cade! Cade has done quests for him. And he doesn't even know. Oh my
That's
gosh,
fantastic.
that is some time travel BS right there. Oh my gosh. That's just, oh my gosh. That man fully aged in like what was like a week and a half for us. Jeez Louise. That is
So yeah,
crazy.
he is extremely proficient in fire magic for a
That
reason.
explains so much. Oh my gosh. This is so crazy. I'm losing my mind over here right now.
Alright. I hate to do this, but we gotta get back to it. How do we get out of that temple? I forget.
You guys just walked out. I
We just
believe.
walked out because we were friends with the dragons. The
Dragonborn.
Because Kalsonu gave him a nice little wave. So
Ah,
they were like,
yes.
alright, you can leave.
But
Oh
where
my
you
gosh.
guys got the orb from? Almost forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Did we get it
So-
from the past?
You got it right before that, actually.
Oh.
So, right before you guys went through all that time travel stuff, Kalsonu had found this little orb, which, for those of you who might know something about D&D lore, it was called an Orb of Dragonkind. Which is not something that no one just finds normally. It's
Yeah.
a very important artifact that is of legendary status. It can control dragons. It lets you gain the ability to summon and control dragons. Problem is, there's no
Legendary.
dragons anywhere nearby when they found it. Well, that is because where you guys were, the reason that place was all sandblasted was because there was a dragon living down there, and you stole something from his hoard, which was
And
that orb.
we didn't know.
And you did not know.
And then it was a legendary item that the person who had it didn't even really want.
Nope. To this day, no one really wants. Except for the one guy who finally, now, as of like last week, now has it.
There was, like a solid 25 sessions that was played that Kalsonu was trying to get rid of that thing.
Yeah, there's a meme. We have a meme about it. I still have it saved on my phone.
Yeah,
We made a
and there's
meme
also-
about it.
Yeah, we made a meme about it. There's
Maybe,
also
maybe we'll
orb
post
is
that
in
meme to our Instagram.
yeah.
Maybe,
And then
maybe.
wait and
And
find
then,
out.
and then the orb in whole nother campaign, same world and everything, just another group of people, right? It's
Yep.
all still in Ben's world. We also get another type of orb. It's not the same one, of course, but it's
Actually, it
another
is.
one.
It is the exact same one
You
because
just
Kalsonu.
rewrote the rules, right?
Yeah, I rewrote a little bit because I wanted to make a little bit of a better item fit better.
Yeah.
So she gave it back to that dragon when it came to try to take Jangiroshi's soul on
That's
behalf
right.
of Tiamat.
Character.
Yes. When it came, she said, "You know what? I took this from you, and I want you to leave in peace." And it said, "You know what?
My bad. My
I
bad,
will accept
dog.
that."
You can have this back.
So that's how she finally got rid of it. So it took it and it took it back until you guys, when you met Bethia, found it and Bethia took it.
Enter Michael and Jacob as totally different characters.
Yes, but not the point of this story. That's
Yeah.
for another time.
But then I think it's funny though, because then the orb is gotten by another character who continues to not want the orb for like 10 more sessions. Like literally just forgot about it. It's too
Yep.
funny. Poor
But
orb.
you guys met up with your other party members in the past.
Indeed.
And then you were given by a guardian of time these little amulets that keep you safe from the effects of this time travel that you guys were a part of. Because you see, as you guys were traveling back in time, time began to rewind for you as well. Slowly at first, and then it got faster and faster.
We'd
Until
eventually
you would
turn into
eventually,
babies.
yes, until eventually you would turn to babies and then disappear entirely.
Hell yeah.
So those amulets protected you guys from
Sounds like
that.
A fun weekend.
Yeah. But they also had magical effects that you could
Yeah.
use. If you got creative enough, you could use them to change how things happen. You could reverse time, pause time. But if you ran out of charges, the amulet would stop protecting you. And it was this kind of balancing act you guys had to do for a
Yeah.
while.
Hence why my character never did any of those things.
Yeah.
Just used it to stop him from being a baby and dying. Or reverse dying, I guess. But yeah, so then we enter a dungeon. A dungeon crawl that
Oh,
lasted,
man.
I think, 6 to 8 sessions.
Somewhere around there.
Well, it lasted 6 to 8 sessions for you guys.
Yeah, but that's a story for another day.
No,
Legitimately.
that continues this session a little bit.
That it exactly
in-
continues this session.
In terms of
Well, yeah.
what befell Shayna.
This is true. I suppose we can touch on her death.
Yeah, we'll just get into the brief intro of it, just
This is
because
like-
it does explain how Shayna
Yeah.
exits.
So we're in this dungeon. This is like a couple hours in game and out of game into the dungeon. Where we find these. What were they? Succubus. There were succubus
There
Succubi,
were
yeah.
4 succubi
Succubi.
and also chimeras.
and also chimeras. 3 chimeras. And some other like 4-armed demon or something.
Yes. So it was a big like 4-armed demon that was
Very big
accompanied
encounter.
by the succubi because they were kind of following him around like a posse.
Mhm.
And then
they
the chimeras
basically-
were his pets.
And they basically jump our party while we're like taking a rest inside the dungeon because we've been there for so long.
Yeah. They kind
I
of
think we're
jumped
taking a
you
short
guys.
rest. So they jumped us because we
And
weren't
you
being
guys
the stealthiest.
ran for it.
Yeah,
Well, most people ran.
most people ran. I will say the cowardice Cade was at the front of the party. He was the first one
Shayna-
out of there.
Shayna had the
normal.
idea that we could take them, not taking into account the fact that there were so many of them, and they're so much stronger than us.
To be fair, I don't think all of them rounded the corner yet, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Shayna, however, did think to try and stay and fight, and she was trying to get everybody else to help her.
bit
which
overconfident.
at first Lava Lamp was going to help her, and then once more came around the corner, she was like, alright, cool, this is getting a little bit too much. So she started to try and run away, and Kalsonu, still being in the room and being kind of mad at Shayna because they
bit
were stuck in the
salty.
desert.
A bit salty that, you know, we all like died a couple times
Yeah.
because of her.
So
The whole quest that happened because of Shayna's dumb move with the eyeball, and then she let me die like repeatedly.
So
You're kinda
Kalsonu
salty.
was deciding that she didn't like Shayna right now, so she tried to shove her and leave her for dead with the succubi and the chimeras and the demon.
She succeeded.
No, she did not succeed.
Did she not?
However,
She failed, so it seemed like she just tapped her on the back.
yeah, so Shayna didn't realize that was what happened, but Shayna tripped anyways. And then, the succubi came over, and Shayna was no longer anybody's issue.
And, I mean, my character still would have come back for her, but my character didn't really know. He kind of had other problems going on.
Yeah, there were some other things that were ran into at that time of exiting that room and going into another, but
Where there were
that
more
is
people
that is when we will
everything.
introduce the story of the dungeon.
The dungeon that never ended.
Yeah, the dungeon that never ends, which will be another story at some point in the future.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that's all story for another day. I think this will be it for us here at Travelers Tips and Tales. Anything to add, Phil?
Yeah, so first of all, special thanks to our friends over at Forgotten Path Games. That's our local game store here. That's where we got started, where I met these two gentlemen that I do this podcast with today. They have agreed to, share us on all of their social media, and we're giving them a shout out here. If you want, please check them out on Facebook or Instagram. They're super cool, super fun. They put up with a lot of our stuff that probably would have gotten us kicked out of a lot of other places. But we used to play
All of our
D&D there.
shenanigans for a couple
All our
sessions.
shenanigans.
Yeah, Forgotten Path Game. Forgotten Path Games.
Yeah, and if you guys ever have any suggestions or questions, go ahead and email us. Our email is travelerstipsandtales@gmail.com. You can also find in the description of either this video, if you're listening to it on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify, or one of the major sources like Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, we're going to have all of our social media stuff in there as well. And also the name of the person who does our intro and outro music, so that way you can check them out if you would like music done. I recommend working with them. They helped us out a lot, and they were very they were very good at communicating with me along the whole process. So definitely work with them if you're going to go and get some music done. And feel free to email us anytime.
Yeah. And with that, this has been Travelers Tips and Tales.